Cair files lawsuit after 5 Muslim prisoners beaten while praying. Dr. Noam Chomsky exposes the false promise of ChatGPT. Louisville police discriminate against blacks, reveals a probe. JFA calls U.S. to intervene to restore Rohingya food aid. Turkish children who were amputated by earthquakes get Iron Man hands. Measles spreads among children in Yemen. Israeli forces kill 6 Palestinians and wound 26. And the World Uyghur Congress nominated for Nobel Peace Prize. From Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Saamiyah Syed. Our top story tonight, the Missouri chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, or Cair, last week filed a lawsuit against officials with the state's Department of Corrections. According to the lawsuit, this was for pepper spraying and beating Muslim prisoners who were praying. 9 of the men had begun praying when a prison guard ordered them to stop praying immediately. 2 immediately stopped and stepped away, while 7 others did not, and instead tried to finish their prayer quickly. But 5 of these men were pepper sprayed and 1 was viciously beaten. The incident took place at a Missouri Department of Corrections facility in Bonterra. Renowned linguist Dr. Noam Chomsky, among others, is warning of the dangers of ChatGPT. Launched last November, ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence chatbot developed by OpenAI. In a New York Times op-ed published on Wednesday, Chomsky and Professor Ian Roberts, along with Jeffrey Radamel, said AI systems like ChatGPT are incapable of independent thought and are not like the human mind. Roberts is a linguistics professor and Radamel is director of artificial intelligence at a science and technology company. The 3 wrote together that ChatGPT's responses exhibit something like the banality of evil, plagiarism, and apathy and obviation. They added that such programs are stuck in a pre-human or non-human phase of cognitive evolution. The human mind, they said, is a surprisingly efficient and even elegant system that operates with small amounts of information. The U.S. Justice Department, or DOJ, announced Wednesday that Kentucky's Louisville Metro Police Department routinely discriminates against African Americans. That includes its use of excessive force in conducting illegal searches. Attorney General Merrick Garland said in a statement that this unacceptable and unconstitutional conduct erodes the community trust necessary for effective policing. He added that it is also an affront to the vast majority of officers who put their lives on the line to serve Louisville with honor, and it is an affront to the better people of Louisville who deserve better. The DOJ findings come in the wake of an investigation into the killing of Breonna Taylor in March 2020. Taylor was shot 8 times as she was sleeping in her apartment during a police drug raid in which her boyfriend fired a warning shot, claiming he did not hear the police knock. 3 officers, Brett Hankison, Miles Cosgrove, and Jonathan Mattingly, were acquitted in Taylor's death, and Hankison was fired for blindly firing into the apartment. Taylor's family received a $12 million wrongful death settlement, even though the city did not make an admission of wrongdoing. The Justice Department's probe found a wide-ranging pattern of misconduct by police. It also revealed that LMPD unlawfully discriminated against Black people in its enforcement activities, including referring to them as, quote, monkeys. Garland said the DOJ had reached a consent decree with Louisville police, which will require the use of an independent monitor to oversee policing reforms. American Muslims and their allies lobbied Congress on Tuesday, asking elected leaders to intervene to restore food rations for Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh. Since Rohingyas are not allowed to hold a job in the country, they are given food rations by the World Food Program. These come out to 40 US cents per day. But the WFP recently announced that this amount will now be reduced to almost 30 cents a day due to funding problems. Even before the cuts began, a UN special investigation found that more than 40% of children living in refugee camps in Bangladesh are stunted by undernutrition. Justice for All organized yesterday's Lobby Day, which was joined by more than 70 Muslims and allies of other faiths from 16 states. They engaged 41 congressional offices lobbying for Rohingyas among other Muslims and asked the elected leaders to pressure U.S. aid to increase food supply for Rohingyas. A story on Turkish children who were amputated due to the earthquakes get Iron Man hands comes with details after the break. So stay tuned and we will be right back. Welcome back. A Turkish charity is producing customized prosthetics for children who lost their limbs in last month's earthquakes in Turkey in the colors of their favorite cartoon characters. Sardar Okumuş, founder of Robotel Turkey Foundation, told Anadolu Agency that each prosthetic hand is designed digitally. Tweaks for grasping movement are more than made, following by adding the child's favorite characters or the colors of the team they support. Finally, a 3D printer prints the limb. The foundation has so far provided over 1,000 mechanical 3D printed hands to more than 400 children. Israeli forces on Tuesday killed 6 Palestinians in the occupied Jenin and injured 26 people. The Palestinian Health Ministry said that Israeli army launched shoulder-fired rockets amid ferocious gunfire. Witnesses said Israeli troops surrounded a house as a group of militants fought back. An AFP photographer saw thick plumes of smoke rising from the building. The Jenin Brigade, a militant group in the camp, said on one of their Telegram channels that their gunmen fought violent clashes with Israeli forces. The Israeli army said 2 soldiers were lightly wounded. Since the start of the year, the conflict has claimed the lives of 78 Palestinian adults and children, including militants and civilians. 13 Israeli adults and children, including members of the security forces and civilians, have been killed over the same period, according to an AFP tally based on official sources from both sides. Deadly measles has spread among children in Hajjah province in northwestern Yemen, medical aid group Doctors Without Borders warned on Tuesday. MSF Director Christos Christou said on Twitter that there is a gap in routine vaccination among children. Yemen has been mired by chaos and violence since September 2014, when Houthi rebels captured much of the country, including the capital, Sana'a. A military coalition led by Saudi Arabia entered the war in early 2015 to restore the government to power. The conflict has since created one of the worst humanitarian crises in the world. Iranian authorities on Tuesday announced the first arrests linked to the serial poisoning of schoolgirls that has sent shockwaves across the country in recent months. Speaking to state TV, Deputy Interior Minister Majid Mehramadi said some people have been arrested across 5 provinces. More than 1,200 schoolgirls from across the country have been hospitalized in recent months for symptoms of poisoning, according to state media. Top Iranian officials have linked the hysteria related to the mysterious illness to enemies in a veiled reference to the West. Parliamentarians from Canada and Norway have nominated the World Uyghur Congress for the 2023 Nobel Peace Prize. Canadian members of Parliament Alexis Brunel-Duceppe and Samir Zuberi nominated the Germany-based organization. Zuberi is chair of Canada's Subcommittee on International Human Rights. Dolkun Issa, president of the Germany-based Congress, said it was a great honor for his organization to be nominated. It's the first time it has been nominated for the prestigious prize. Over a dozen individuals and about 10 other organizations have already been nominated for the 2023 Nobel Peace Prize. China has faced growing worldwide criticism for its treatment of the 11 million predominantly Muslim Uyghurs. Just last August, the United Nations Human Rights Office issued a damning report. It highlighted the Chinese government's widespread arbitrary detentions of Uyghurs, saying it may constitute crimes against humanity. Controversy has erupted after a school in Wakefield, North England, suspended 4 students over a Quran desecration incident. Kettlethorpe High School suspended them after a copy of the Holy Book was partially torn and scuffed. Some claim the Quran had been burned, and rumors spread about the incident. Police and religious leaders intervened, staging a press conference at a local mosque. A mother of one of the students involved apologized for her son's conduct. Right-wingers have publicly condemned the suspensions, alleging that Muslims are pressuring others and trying to enforce de facto blasphemy laws. And that's all from our Toronto studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can find previous episodes and more on our YouTube or Facebook. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Assalamu alaikum and good night.